Yeah, it's mindset cafe, we all about that mindset. Gotta stay focused, never settle for less. It's all in your head, how you think you manifest. So get ready to rise, cause we about to be the best. Gotta switch it up, gotta break the old habits. Get your mind right, turn your dreams into habits.
If you're always the strong one, quote unquote, this episode is gonna hit it for you. Because being the strong one, it does have a cost. And most people never calculate it. You're the leader, the provider, the fixer, the calm one. And people lean on you. And you tell yourself you're fine because you have to be. But here's the reality. Strength is useful, but strength with no support, it's expensive. It costs you maybe your sleep, your health, your patience, maybe your marriage or relationship, your inner peace. So today I want to talk about, the hidden cost of always being that strong one, right? The strong one in your circle, the strong one at work, and realize that, there is a hidden cost to that, to being the strong one and bearing your emotions and so forth. So let's get in. Welcome back to another episode of the Mindset Cafe podcast. It's your boy Devin, and today's episode is for the person who holds it down, right? The one who doesn't complain, the one who solves problems, the people who quote unquote don't worry about it. So let me make this simple. Being the strong one is not the problem. Being the strong one with no outlets is the problem, because the pressure, it needs a place to go. If it doesn't go somewhere on purpose, it starts to leak out by force. And believe me, I can speak to this from my own personal examples or life, because being a business owner, being a dad, being a husband, and having franchisees who all look to me like I am the strong one. And so this is something that I've had to realize, and that's why I wanted to kind of touch on it. Most people don't see that leak until it's too late, right? It can show up as, short temper, your sleep quality, being anxious, maybe even emotional numbness, or some people, might even burn out, right, on what you're doing. And I've even seen some people, have distance in their relationships, whether it's a dating relationship or a marriage. And here's what makes it worse, right? You keep performing and you're telling yourself, I'm good. You keep saying, I got it. You keep being the rock while you slowly are eroding, right? You're slowly cracking. So today, I'm not just gonna I don't wanna give you a motivational speech. I want to see that today's Mindset Cafe is a reality check. And I wanna give you a system or a solution of sorts to try to help with this. Because you don't need more toughness, you are the tough one. You just need to realize that even the tough one needs a support system or a structure, so it's okay. And so let's dive into that a little bit, right? The first part I want to kind of talk about is your identity, right? That identity of the strong one. Most people didn't choose this role, right? You inherited it. You're a firstborn like myself. You're a high achiever like myself. Some people would say you're a natural leader. And even though you may not call yourself a leader, let's say outside of your role, some people just tend to have that quality. Or maybe let's say you're a trauma survivor, right? And at some point, life decided you're the one. You became the person people don't worry about, the dependable one. You're the one who just handles it. And over time, that strength becomes your identity. Not just something you do, it becomes who you are. And there's a pride, honestly, I can say that's attached to that. But at the same time, I have to be honest, you might be telling yourself, or you might even think, you like being the dependable one. You like being the one that people call. You like being the rock. because it makes you feel useful. It makes you feel important. But that identity that you've built for yourself, there's a cost to that as well. And most people never see it until the bill is past due. So with that, it's those unspoken expectations, and strength attracts responsibility. And that's just the deal. When you're competent, people assume you can carry more. So you may hear some things, you've got this, you're built for this, you're built different, you're a leader, I'm not worried about you, blah, 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 blah. And they all sound like compliments, but at the same time, sometimes those compliments come from pressure because they're reinforcing that identity that you've kind of encased yourself in. Because now you're not allowed to struggle. You're not allowed to not be the strong one. You're not allowed to be weak. You're not allowed to show worry, right? Because other people depend on you being the rock. But at the same time, what happens when the rock is being moved? The rock is shaky. You need a rock as well, right? And you feel that pressure, right? That pressure is real, right? And you can't be loud about it. You don't want to show it in public. So what do you do when these compliments are being given to you and the provider of the compliment, that pressure is being weighed in on you, whether it's financial pressure, whether it's emotional pressure, maybe spiritual pressure for you. For example, right? You're the entrepreneur who can't afford to break down because payroll depends on you. If you fall behind, people don't just get disappointed. They don't eat. They don't get to feed their families, right? They don't get to pay their bills, right? They don't get to go on vacation. They don't, their lives now depend on you as well. So you keep it together, even when you're cooked on the inside. And strength can become lonely, right? There's an emotional isolation that comes along with strength because people vent to you, but you can't vent to them, right? I was talking to someone about this the other day. I was talking to my investor / partner, my business partner on this as well. It's like, sometimes it's tough being the owner, right? Because things may not be going as well as you wanted them to, or going the way you wanted them to, and it's like the team might vent to you, but you can't vent to the team, or they may ask if you need help, but it's like you can only give them so much. And at the same time, you have to twist it with an emotional upbeat so that it doesn't, your worry or your stress or your anxiousness doesn't come out on them, right? So everybody pours into you of their stresses, their problems, their dramas, their fears, and you hold it, right? And then you go home. And then at home, you have your family or your relationship or your brothers, sisters, whatever the case may be in your situation. And then there's a whole nother set of problems that, since the identity normally doesn't get shifted from one setting to another, that people then tell you their problems. And, now you have other issues that get poured into you, and all you tell yourself is, no problem, I'll handle it. I got it, and they hear that and they're like, okay, yeah, I'll just tell them the problem. And then, he or she has it. And you don't have anybody to pour into and vent or, bounce ideas off of, or, get a second opinion and let them know that you're stressed, you're burning out, you're venting because you don't want to burden people, right? You don't want to burden them. You don't want to worry them, right? Because you think that you should be able to handle it because you've trained everyone else to believe that you are fine. But it's a myth, right? Strong people don't struggle is the myth. And, it's just a lie that's been told or at least ingrained with the identity that's been coupled with the idea of the strong one, right? That idea of the identity of someone that's strong, that they don't struggle, that they have it all under control, right? And the truth is, strong people just struggle quietly. So the key question that I would ask you is like, who does the strong one call at 2 a.m. when they can't sleep, when they're stressed out, when they're anxious? And if your answer is no one, then you're not strong. You're isolated, right? Because at the same time, you have to realize like there's a sense of humility that you have to be willing to endure as well as the strong one. And understand that you don't know all the answers. And you have to be strong enough to also be able to ask for help and be strong enough to know that it's okay if you don't have all the answers or if you are struggling. Because there's a performance trap it comes with what you're doing right now, right? You're isolated, right? You stop being strong and you start performing, quote unquote, strength. You smile through stress. You say I'm good automatically, and you suppress fear. You suppress your doubt. You suppress the exhaustion that you have because you live in solution mode, which is always fixing things. And high performers confuse suppression with resilience. Typically they'll think, well, if I ignore it, I'm tough. No. If you ignore it long enough, it will own you. Suppression doesn't disappear. It just moves. It moves into your body. It'll move into your temper. It'll move into your sleep quality, right? So there's a physical and a psychological cost. And the rule is, what you suppress expresses itself somewhere else, right? Chronic stress, chronic burnout, right? Anxiety masked as productivity, emotional numbness, short temper, with typically the people that are closest to you. And you'll say, well, I'm just busy. And you can definitely hear the tone as I just said that. That's usually how it goes. And it's like, no, you're overloaded. Your body keeps score. If you don't deal with that pressure, the pressure will deal with you. It's the silent pressure that usually gets you, right? If I fall, then everything falls. That thought runs leaders. That thought runs providers, founders, right? The financial weight, the decision fatigue, the no off switch, right? Even when you sit down, your brain stays on. Even when you sleep, you don't rest. For example, right? The leader who sleeps 7 hours but wakes up tired, because sleep isn't rest when your nervous system is on high alert all the time, right? So why don't the strong ones ask for help? It's, is this the breaking point? Why don't you ask for help, right? Is it pride? Is it fear of looking weak? Is it fear of losing authority? I should be able to handle this kind of like thought. And that sentence has killed more leaders than any competitor ever will, right? I should be able to handle this. Past experiences matter too. A lot of strong people learned early, when you need help, nobody shows up. So you stopped asking. And the truth is, strength without support becomes self-sabotage, right? A lot of strong people who have that strong identity realized you are the person that people call when they need help or they need support. You are the backup. You are like the support, but who does the support call, right? So in your mind, it's like, I am the person, so I should be able to handle everything and anything. And honestly, I can tell you from personal experience, that's not the case. I read an amazing book. It was called Who Not How. And this was even for business. It was like, with trying to figure out how to do everything, it was like, obviously I can only divide my attention and my time so much that it was like me giving 10% of my effort here and 10% of my effort there. And it's like, obviously things weren't going the way they should be. And it's like, why don't I just find who knows how to do this thing very well, instead of me trying to find out how to do it better, because again, it won't be all of my effort. So same thing goes for this. It's like, who can I talk to, right? It might be your loved one. It doesn't need to be the same person. It could be different. You could have different people as different rocks for different things, that align with that issue, right? But you have to have something. You have to have someone, right? Because there will be that breaking moment, right? When your strength without support will become self-sabotage. Everyone has a limit. Strong people act like they don't, but they do, I promise you. And that breaking moment will look like, all of a sudden there's just an emotional shutdown, right? A sudden burnout, maybe a relationship strain, a healthcare scare, quiet resentment. In reality, strong people don't explode loudly. They collapse and crumble quietly. They don't scream, they go numb, they disappear, right? So I want you to redefine what strength is, right? Here's the pivot for you. Strength is not carrying everything alone. That's not strength. That's being stubborn. Real strength includes emotional honesty. Real strength includes saying, I'm not okay. I need help. I need a minute. Leaders who model honest pressure create healthier teams, healthier families. Vulnerability is leadership. Not dumping, right? Truth plus control is what you're going after, right? You're building a support system as the strong one. You don't need a crowd, you don't need structure, you need peers, not dependents. 3 buckets. Think of it this way, 3 buckets, right? You need a mentor, you need peers, and then essentially pro support, or like a coach or something of that nature, right? And you talk amongst them, right? You talk with those 3 buckets, right? Your peers could be your wife, your husband, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever the case may be, your brother or sister, but then have a mentor who's already walked that line, and then have someone that essentially can help you more on a daily basis on specific areas, right? And schedule time in your calendar to reach out to them if you're busy, right? Because usually the strong one is the busy one. Schedule like any other appointment, even just to send that text. And just think that if it's not scheduled, it's not going to happen. We both know that. Maybe add some grounding to your life. Working out. Highly recommend you start working out if you're not, right? Maybe you need to pray if that's your thing, right? Journaling if that's your thing. Try them out, right? Go on a walk. Sometimes, even for myself, I think one of the big ones is just silence. I mean, I'm in a gym most of my day, and there's music bumping, so my drive home is literally no music, nothing on no podcast on that, anything. Sometimes I just need silence to let my mind go and reset my nervous system. So find yours, try a couple out and reset your nervous system, right? Give others permission to support you. Most people want to help, but you don't let them. And the rule for you would be, share selectively. You don't need to dump everything on them, just the truth. Maybe a simple line, you could reach out to that person, to kind of break the ice and be like, look, I'm carrying a lot right now. I could really use you. I could really use someone to talk to, or something like that. And that's it. Letting others support you strengthens them too. It will deepen the relationship, I promise you, because real connection requires honesty. So who supports the strong, right? The strong must intentionally build their tribe, right? Your community isn't accidental. So support isn't going to be automatic. You have to build it. Even leaders need leadership. Even rocks need something to rest on. So the challenge is, who do you call when it's 2 a.m. and you're not okay? If the answer is no one, that is the problem. Not your workload, not your schedule, that. Build one relationship this month where you can tell the truth of what's going on inside. Just one. One mentor or a peer or a coach, maybe a therapist if you need it. Do something, because no one is coming to save you from this isolation. And the thought of no one is coming to save you in general that's in your own head. People want to throw you the life raft and the life vest, but you have to be willing to grab it and put it on. So if you're always the strong one, maybe the strong thing you can do is stop carrying it alone. I hope this episode helped you if you are the strong one. If you know someone else that is the strong one, send this message to them. Let them know you are the person that they could reach out to, right? Because we all know someone that anytime you ask them something, they'll just tell you, I'm good, right? No matter how much pressure is weighing in on them. But like always, guys, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. If you guys ever need me or you want to reach out, just shoot me a DM. I got you guys. See you guys on the next one.
No negative vibes, only positive thoughts. Just in the game of life, mindset causes shots. Got my mind on the prize, I can't be distracted. I stay on my grind, no time to be slacking. I hustle hard, I go against the current.